reading the Bible as a non-Christian was very difficult. Many's a time we would lift it up and read a few verses, get lost completely and give up.
For 10 years, I have been praying for Jim for salvation, and at times within church, being in church as a family and with the girls, sometimes it was a little difficult going through services and knowing that Jim still wasn't saved. We decided as a family that we would try and read the New Testament, the books of the Bible together as a family.
The first week we were reading the community Bible, the books of the Bible. I was reading the part at the end of day 5 where it said after the resurrection there was 2 disciples and they were walking towards Emmaus. And as they were walking towards Emmaus, Jesus came alongside them and he started to talk to them, but he kept himself from them. In other words, they didn't recognize who it was. And they talked and walked, and it was getting late in the day, so they asked Jesus to stay with them for the night. So he did, and they were at a table, and Jesus said grace, and he broke the bread. And as he gave the bread to the disciples, their eyes were opened, and they realized it was Jesus that they were talking to. And just at that, he left their sight. Well, just at that moment, I just realized that my eyes were open, and I realized what I'd done and how God could forgive me. And I got down on my knees and begged Jesus to forgive my sins and come into my life and be my Saviour. And he did.
Reading the books of the Bible, it has been a complete and utter eye-opener, but for a family, for us to read it together, it has changed our lives, because now we have household salvation. We can all pray together. It was one thing that I had always longed for, was to be able, as a husband and wife, to be able to pray together.
The books of the Bible, when I started to read it, it really talked sense, as I would put it. In other words, it read as a novel, and it was quite easy to read. There was bits I didn't understand, but I accept that there's bits that everybody doesn't understand, but it was so easy to read, and I really loved reading it.
For me, reading the books of the Bible, because I've been a Christian for 10 years and I've obviously read the Bible, but I kind of selected it randomly, and this way I feel I've started at the beginning of the New Testament and I've read it fluently.
To be honest, if I had to go back now and read what I've read in the books of the Bible out of the Bible, I would probably still struggle. It's just the way it's written, the way it's put down in words, the way it flows. It's very encouraging, and it just brings you along the story with it.